Hello everyone, happy Friday. It is Friday, I'm excited about that, but unfortunately we do have homework, but I'm going to go through it really quickly so I don't hold you too long on this video. We did continue with graphs on today. Today we more so focus with picture graphs. So that's what today's homework is about, just looking at the picture graph and being able to answer questions about that particular graph. So let's go ahead and get started so I won't hold you too long. This is page 423. That is what homework started on. And it's telling us to use the example, the graph that's in this example, to help us solve problems 1 through 4. So I had to keep the page kind of small today. So if you can, I hope you can zoom in to kind of see it a little better. But I needed to be able to have the graph up so that I can answer this. So the page is a little bit small. I apologize for that ahead of time. So let's go ahead and do number 1. It says, how many students chose lions? Draw a model to show your work. Okay, so let's look at the lions. This is the lions right here. And I'm just going to circle it so that I know what I'm starting with. And I want to know how many students chose lions, but what we need to look at and realize is the key. The key lets us know what each one of the little people stand for. It lets us know what each item or each picture means. So it's telling us that each person stands for 4 students. So that means if I have 3 of them, I can do a repeat addition sentence to figure out what it is. I can do 4 plus 4 plus 4, or I can make a multiplication equation. Because I have 3 of them, I can do 3, and each of them equals 4, so times 4. Or I can do a skip count. I can skip count by 4 to help me figure this out. So this will be 4, 8, 12, and I stop when I get to my third number because it's 3 people. So if I do my repeat addition sentence, I will get 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus that 4 is going to give me 12 as well, so 12 here. When I do 3 times 4, that is going to give me 12 as well. And then when I did my skip count, I stopped at 12. So I got 12 for all 3. So the answer for number 1 is going to be 12. Now let's go to number 2. Number 2 says, how many students chose snakes? So let's look at snakes. Snakes is at the top of our graph. And with snakes, we have, let's count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 little pictures. And remember, each one of those pictures equals 4. So again, you can do a repeat addition sentence, or you can do a skip count and stop when you get to your 7th finger or your 7th number, or you can do a multiplication expression. I'm going to do the multiplication equation or expression. So it's going to be, because it's 7 of the little people, so 7 and times, and because each one of the little people equals 4, I'm going to do 7 times 4. And this is going to give me an answer of 28. So my answer is 28. All right, let's go to 3. 3 says, how many more students chose giraffes than lions? So let's look at, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the number that I got. So the snakes equals 28. And the lions, we got 12, just so that we know what those totals are. So for the giraffes, let's figure out what the giraffes are. So we have 4 of them, and we can do a skip count. That's 4, 8, 12, 16. So we have 16 for the giraffes. So they want to know how many more students chose giraffes, which is 16, than lions, and they have 12. So when you see how many more than, that means we're going to do some subtraction. So we can subtract the giraffes from the lions to see how many more students chose that than that. So let's go ahead and do it. So I'm going to do 16 minus 12, and this is going to give me 4. So my answer is 4. Now you can also look at it side by side, and you can see that the giraffe has 1 more person more. And remember, each person equals 4. So you can look at that and see it's 4 too. So if you look at it, you can see it's 4. If you do the math, you'll get 4 as well. So you can do either one as a check for the other one. Okay, let's go to 4. 4 says, how many fewer students chose lions than apes? So now they want to know about the apes and the lions. We already have our totals for lions, so let's go ahead and do the total for apes. So for my apes, I have a lot of them, but we're going to skip count by 4 to see what the total is. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. So we have 32 for the apes. And they want to know how many fewer students chose lions than apes. So again, this is going to be another subtraction problem so we can figure it out. So I'm going to take my apes, which is 32, and I'm going to subtract the lions, which is 12, and 32 minus 12 is going to equal 20. So the answer is 20, and again, you can always double check by seeing where the lions end with the apes and just count or skip count by that to see how many extra they have. So that's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. And I get the same thing when I do it that way. So you can do either or way that you prefer. Okay, that is it for the first sheet. We're going to flip over to the back of that sheet, which is going to be page 424. So I'm going to clear the board so we can go ahead and do that. Okay, so again, I'm going to leave the page as a whole page because I have to use this graph for all the problems. So again, if you can zoom in if you need to, hopefully that'll help you to be able to see it. If you can't, again, I apologize ahead of time. So let's go ahead and go to the directions. It says, use the picture graph to solve problems 5 through 9. That's this whole section here. Show your work. So students voted for their favorite animal at the petting zoo. The picture graph shows the number of students who voted for each animal. Okay, so we have our animals here, and we have our hands to show that's how many students voted, and then we have our key. Remember, the key is extremely important. The key tells us what each picture means. So they tell us that each hand stands for 6 students. So each one of my little hands is going to stand for 6 students. So make sure you keep that in mind when we start solving our problems. So let's look at number 5. It says, how many students voted for llamas? So let's go to the llamas. Llamas are right here. And for the llamas, I have 3 hands. Now for that, we can do a skip count. This will be counting by 6. So 6, 12, 18. This will be 18. Or we can do a multiplication expression or equation. So because I have 3 hands, I'm going to do 3 times, and each hand equals 6, so times 6. And 3 times 6 is also 18. So either one you want to do, we will get the same answers, just whichever strategy you prefer. Okay, let's go to number 6. It says, how many fewer students chose goats than pigs? So now we're looking at our goats and we are looking at our pigs. So this is goats and this is pigs. So let's start with goats. So for my goats, I'm going to do a skip count by 6. This is 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. Okay, let's go to the pigs. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54. Okay, so you can also do multiplication expressions for both of these. For goats, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 and times each one equals 6. So 6 times 6 gives me 36 as well. And then for my pigs, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 times and then the 6, because each one equals 6. 9 times 6 will also give me 54. So same answer. It depends on which strategy you want to use. So it says how many fewer students chose goats than pigs. So when we see fewer, that means we're going to do some subtraction so we can figure out how many less kids chose one than the other. So let's do subtraction. We have 54 minus 36. Okay, so 4 minus 6, we cannot subtract that. So I'm going to borrow from the 5. And this 5 is going to turn into a 4. And now this 4 in the ones place is going to be a 14. 14 minus 6 is going to be 8. And 4 minus 3 is 1. So my answer is 18. 18 fewer students chose goats than pigs. Okay, let's go to 7. I'm sorry I had to kind of squish that in there. They didn't give much space to write. So sorry about that. So number 7 says, how many votes did goats and rabbits get all together? When we see that keyword all together, I like to look at keywords. How many more usually means you're going to be subtracting. Fewer means you're probably going to be subtracting. All together means you're probably going to be adding. It depends on the situation, but most likely that's what it means. So that definitely means I'm going to be adding. They want to know what the goats and the rabbits are together. So let's look at the goats. Goats, we have 36 plus my rabbits. Well, we hadn't figured out the rabbits yet, so let's do that. So we can count by 6 to figure it out. So this is 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. So this is 60. And again, you can count to see how much and do a multiplication expression. I'll do it for that one since I did it for all of them. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that means I'm doing 10 times, and then each hand equals 6. 10 times 6 is 60. So 60 is correct. So let's add our 60 to get our final answer of what they are together. So 6 plus 6, 6 plus 0 is 6. 3 plus 6 is 9. So my final answer is 96. Okay. Let's go to 8. 8 says, how many more students chose rabbits than llamas? So again, how many more? That typically means I'm going to be subtracting. So let's look at my rabbits. I have, again, 60 for the rabbits. So I'm going to have 60 minus my llamas, which is 18. Okay, so let's go ahead and start subtracting in our ones place. 0 minus 8, I cannot subtract that. So that means I'm going to have to borrow from the 6 in the tens place. This 6 is going to give me, going to be left as a 5, and this 0 on the ones is now a 10. So now we can subtract. 10 minus 8 is going to be 2. And then 5 minus 1 is going to be 4. So now we know how many more students chose rabbits than llama. 42. Okay, and then down to our last one, it says make your own statement about the data in the picture graph. Show how you know your statement is true. Now with that, you can write any statement you like. It's up to you. You can say there are more rabbits than than goats, llamas, and pigs, or you can say the llamas had less than the goats, rabbits, or pigs, or you can say the pigs had 54, which is more than the goats that had 36. So you can make any statement you like about the data that is in that graph. It just depends on what you want to say about that graph. So that concludes homework for today. I hope I haven't kept you long. On next week, we will have our test on this material, but we still have a couple more lessons to get through. So that means we will have homework on Monday, and I will see you guys on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. I hope you guys get a chance to rest, parents and students, and I will see you back on Monday. Bye.